Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Sotnik-TV. It's April 29th, 2020, and it's time for the Wednesday news show. We're streaming live at 8:01 p.m. in Moscow. The political system in Russia is doing its utmost to protect itself. That was the topic of our today's dialogue with Boris Tomachin, a former political prisoner who is among your favorite experts. Coming up next, see part of our conversation. They say the coronavirus was set up by a global government in order to change the global economics and to rearrange the spheres of interest. There are also ongoing rumors of a chipping program and so on. Do you take any part of such conspiracy seriously? First of all, I do not believe that a global government exists. Such conspiracy has been around for quite a long time now, but I don't think anything of it is true. The economy is sure having a hard time now due to the quarantine and the global lockdown. Nothing seems to be over soon. But here's another theory I've came across on the internet. Boris Paramonov is among those supporting it. He is a famous Russian writer, philosopher and journalist. So let me put it this way. He actually wrote about that known explosion that took place in Russian Virology Center back in September 2019. That was followed by the outbreak of that lung disease. I forgot the name. You mean the explosion in Vector Research Center that took place on September 16th? Exactly, and what is the name of the disease? I guess you mean pneumonia. Yes, that's exactly what I mean, pneumonia. So there was that strange pneumonia outbreak in central Russia. And later that whole thing in China started suddenly. So Paramonov supposes that whole thing could have been set up. The virus could have been transferred to China and set free at one of the markets, as that was the time when the car trial on the downed Boeing MH-17 began in the Netherlands. There are also some other coincidences that seem quite strange. The global panic around the virus pandemic overshadows the rest of the political issues, including that trial. So the focus has shifted from Putin's crimes. Everybody forgot about Putin and he is now trying to submit a resolution to the UN, demanding to remove or to soften the sanctions against Russia due to the global disaster. Russia is doing its best promoting the resolution, but up to this moment they didn't make much of a progress thanks to Ukraine opposing them. So those are some strange coincidences noticed by Mr. Paramonov. I guess this theory is worth considering. Let's get to Europe now. There was a story around the Russian diplomat who carried ricin and allegedly was supposed to poison the mayor of Prague and others. Do you consider that story true? Why wouldn't I? When it comes to the theories of Russian government setting up the pandemic, I sure doubt those due to the global scale of the entire scenario. But when I hear about them trying to poison people in Prague, I believe that right away. They were seen doing that for many times in past. We may recall that recent story around poisoning the Skripals in the UK. That scandal has just settled down a little. So I do believe that story, considering that they use quite an irrational thinking. In fact, removing the memorial to the Soviet Marshal Konev in Prague insults them, and there is no way they can stand it. There was not just that incident over the memorial, but also the square in Prague that was renamed after Boris Nemtsov. Still, they could have accepted that square renamed. They're now using another address for Russian embassy located on that square. I'm not aware of their exact thoughts as I can't get into their heads. Still, Russian authorities could stand renaming the square, but after the memorial got taken away, they said it was enough. So they moved to their beloved plan and decided to use poison. It's fun to see how miserable they turned. They're now trying to assassinate the mayor of Prague and the head of the city district where that memorial was located. Look at how low their scale has gotten. Both of those are rather minor figures. They don't affect global politics at all. Back in the days, Russians used to assassinate Lev Trotsky or Stepan Bandera, who were famous worldwide. Those were the main enemies of Russian regime back then. And the only enemy they can afford now is the head of Prague. Coming up next, see a part of my conversation with Alina Vitukhnovskaya, a politician and writer. Today we have discussed possible further scenarios for Russia. Please tell us a few words about the current situation in Moscow. How do the citizens behave? Can you sense a resentment of any kind, or have everyone gotten over their destiny and realized they were doomed? What scares me the most is the fact of people rather getting angry because they can't go to work, take a walk or simply hang around, but not because of the danger of the COVID infection, or because of what's going on in general due to the pandemic. And what's going on can't be named other than a nightmare. Moscow has turned into the city of plague. There are lots of stories on Facebook by real people, and I am familiar with some of them. The people with suspected COVID are taken to hospitals that are now overcrowded and may even have no available restrooms. The people infected with COVID stay next to the rest of the patients. The doctors use diapers, and those waiting in lines are forced to wait for their turn for several hours. And after the COVID has been diagnosed, the patients get to go home by public transport. I don't know what's more insane about this. Hospitals let infected patients go, and the patients don't take taxi. Once you suspect yourself infected after having the symptoms for several days, you should save some money for a taxi to and from hospital, so that you don't infect people. Actually, that seems to be the first time in my life when I'm more alarmed with what the citizens do, with what the authorities do. How much of that safety factor does Putin's regime still obtain? How long will Putin last paying to his forces? Does he have enough money, as the wage of police officers using truncheons may now raise? He sure does have enough funds for that. Still, I see another problem here. There's an ongoing confrontation inside the security system. Both of us have long predicted the following scenario that now becomes possible. Those officers will now start clashing. Just like in Mad Max movie, military clans will now get into a conflict. They will fight each other for the remaining resources, such as their estate and so on. At some point, they may stop obeying the orders by Mr. Putin, who has been paying them. Someone else may get enough money to poach them. Security officers are no homogeneous group. As we can also see, they're not the brightest people in the world. Just like Mr. Putin, they only rely on themselves, not even trying to negotiate with citizens or with the civil society. These are rather bad news. There may be some hidden upheaval going on, but we will only know that afterwards. No clearer details are known at this moment. Still, we see their actions uncoordinated. The mayor of Moscow is acting kinda separately, and so are several heads of the regions. That demonstrates the center is losing its ability to govern by such means as the security services. As you said, the people in Russia keep from snarling. Still, they have something on their minds. What do you think this may lead to? May there occur a sudden rebellion? There sure may. 10 years ago, the politicians in Russia used to rely on the middle class. A notional revolution, by which I don't mean street gunfire, was supposed to take place by means of the middle class. But now the most underlined people are going on stage. They're fed up with the whole situation. They don't read no books on libertarianism. They have no idea of what that democracy is. They don't behave. They have no clear goals. They're striving for food and for the revenge. As the authorities have neither fulfilled their duties nor kept their word. Such scenario can only end up with a terrifying, dangerous and violent riot. Take care of yourself, stay healthy and make sure to watch Sotnik-TV. See you soon.